I thought he was going to be good for the economy, sobs man who voted for a dude who bankrupted 8 casinos. Trump's tariff chaos threatens an economy already flashing yellow lights. The health of the US economy is looking less and less stable by the day. Trump betrays farmers again. To the great farmers of the United States, get ready to start making a lot of agricultural product to be sold inside of the United States. Tariffs will go on external product on April 2nd. Have fun. Can we get a Fell For It Again award in chat? Maybe if he buys enough of Trump's scam coin, he'll get his lease back. I wonder if Chris Egan regrets giving the Trump campaign around $200,000 this summer. New, the Department of Government Efficiency has terminated 7 commercial leases at Central Mass Properties. We've been douged, said Christopher Egan, president of Caruth Capital in Westboro, which owns one of the impacted properties. Anti-vax RFK Jr. now urging people in Texas to get vaxxed after MMR outbreak. RFK Jr. commits to measles U-turn amid outbreak. Vaccine skeptic RFK Jr. has urged people to get the MMR vaccine after downplaying a deadly measles outbreak in Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'll put a screenshot up here if I can find something, but I swear because of what he's been saying and what he's been lobbying for, didn't that outbreak cause like the first measles death in the United States in like, what, over a decade? A genius solution to an increase in the price of lumber. Well, Canada supplies a lot of lumber to the US. Lumber prices are going to get real expensive, and could impact new home construction in the spring if the tariffs persist. Mexico supplies a lot of food and produce. Those will get real expensive as well if Mexico doesn't fix their shit with regards to the cartels, as Trump wants. Lumber prices are going to get real expensive, and could impact new home construction in the spring if the tariffs persist. Because the US is lacking in lumber? With all the deregulation Trump is doing, we should be able to make up the difference in short order. It's not like we don't have massive forests to harvest. The only reason we aren't right now is because of all the environmentalists that don't want us to be independent. Oh wow bro, so thanks to deregulation you're gonna be chopping down like hundreds of years old redwood trees and stuff like that, and doing mass deforestation because Trump put tariffs on another country? Kinda seems like he's gonna try and solve an unnecessary problem he created, right? It's not like unregulated, unsustainable mass deforestation has ever caused problems. This is a violation of the First Amendment of the US Constitution, which includes freedom of assembly. More Trump impressions, alright. All federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protests. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country from which they came. American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. No masks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So much for MAGA being a staple of the Constitution and trying to uphold it, right? But what am I saying? It's not like they've tried messing with the Constitution before, specifically 6 weeks ago, right? She voted for Trump, but getting fired by him makes her feel like trash. No, after decades at McDonald's, she took a job at the IRS in Kansas City. It was exactly the kind of work she wanted. She had just 3 weeks left in probation. She voted for Trump, but says Musk has too much power. What's that? You need FEMA assistance? I'm sorry, maybe you can snuff the fires out by hitting them with your bootstraps. No, a source tells me that response teams for FEMA, said to deploy to the South Carolina wildfires, are unable to travel because their government-issued travel cards have their limits reduced to $1. FEMA response team cards were supposed to be exempt. People who voted for cheaper egg prices are told they're on their own. Trump official, Americans should raise backyard chickens if they're mad about egg prices. Joe Exotic posts on Instagram that his husband was deported by ICE after years of shilling for Donald Trump. They took him away from me today to deport him 2 days before my birthday. Now you want me to beg you, Donald Trump, to let me out so I can go save him. I will give you my first $5 million I make to get one of those gold cards, if that's what it takes. At this point, these aren't even funny, just baffling. Yeah, I voted for Trump, but I never thought he'd be so foolish to actually move forward with 25% tariffs. Given the well-documented history of how the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 triggered the onset of the Great Depression as global trade flows dried up. What's that? The guy I voted for that said he was going to do something bad actually didn't? I thought this was meant to be a game. This isn't meant to affect me. I'm a lifelong registered Republican. I can't remember the last time I was so ashamed of my country as I watched our president and vice president essentially beating up on a man who had been struggling to try and save his country from being swallowed up by Russia. I was horrified to see our president and vice president vehemently castigate Zelensky. I grew up thinking this country was for liberty and justice for all. It's clear to me that Putin does not need clandestine agents in this country as long as he has our president in his pocket. Jim Walters, Houston. See guys, you don't understand. Trump and Vance, they just want to get their bonus from the FSB. Don't blame them. Man who makes paper straws voted for Trump. Now he'll be out of business. Our distributors are saying, everyone's going back to plastic now because of the president. The president I voted for. The man who said, let's make America great again. Let's help small businesses grow. That man is going to put me out of business. Trump supporter reacting to the orange baby. I voted for Trump, but this feels really bad. I don't mind us having a working relationship with Russia, but in no way should we be siding with them over Ukraine. I know it's more complicated than one side or the other, but the bottom line is that if Ukraine doesn't win this war, who knows if Putin will stop there? If Ukraine gets defeated, it might end up being World War III with a bunch of nuclear superpowers. Backing Zelensky is the right move, scolding him like he's a 4-year-old kid with his hand in the cookie jar, when in actuality he's a grown-ass man who's been successfully holding off one of the world's largest superpowers for the past 4 years is not. I dunno man, even as someone who voted for Trump, this feels like a bad choice. Hopefully he's just playing hardball for a deal. A deal for what? Minerals and land rights he doesn't even have a right to? He's trying to treat the end of a war like a business deal just for the sake of him and his rich buddies. Oh, this is a good one. Trump running the country like one of his businesses. How long's he been in? Like 6 to 8 weeks-ish? Anyway, let's see how he's done so far. Atlanta Fed model forecasts nearly -3 GDP growth in the first quarter of this year. US manufacturing activity near stagnation while prices jump. Weekly jobless claims jumped to 242,000 people, more than expected in latest sign of economic softening. February consumer confidence posts biggest drop since 2021 in latest sign of slowing economy. The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index slipped to 98.3 for the month, down nearly 7%, and below the Dow Jones forecast for 102.3. It was the largest monthly drop since August 2021. The Expectations Index tumbled 9.3 points to a 72.9 reading, the first time since June 2024 that the measure has fallen below the level consistent with recession. From egg prices to housing, US inflation is heating up again. Measures of input costs and inflation expectations are rising. Consumers and businesses brace for higher prices from tariffs. And last but not least, the Dow sinks more than 900 points as tariffs loom. I mean, at the time of recording, they've already gone through. But anyway, the Dow, S&P 500 and Nasdaq sank after President Trump confirmed 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico. So, good job MAGA. I don't think your egg prices are any lower. Huh, who'd have thought?